What's up, everybody? It's Travis Sherman here with the second edition of the Real Cinema Experience, and my next guest needs no introduction, but she's getting one anyway. On today's show, we have Har-Ber High School graduate of 2017. I actually messed that up. It's 2017. She walked away with 27 awards out of the television program, including first place on-site anchoring and from the Spring Creek Arts Festival, two-time Best of Show at the Arkansas State Thespian Festival, second place Arkansas Skills USA Television Video Production, first place Arkansas Skills USA Digital Cinema Production, Arkansas Scholastic Press Association Broadcast Producer of the Year runner-up, Arkansas Scholastic Press Association Film Screenwriter of the Year second runner-up, Arkansas Scholastic Press Association Film Producer of the Year, recipient of the Natus Mid-America Student Pillar of Excellence, and my personal favorite, first place Skills USA Nationals for Digital Cinema Production. Please help me welcome via Zoom, it's none other than Miss Sarah Gill.
Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be with you today.
Whoa. Look what we got. I know, oh, I hate that it flips through the screen. So first off, I just want to say that you are probably by far the hardest person to get a hold of. You are definitely going to be a producer at heart. So that introduction, I feel like I'm getting ready. I'm getting pretty good at that. I should be announcing for the Hogs or something. So catch us up to the speed. Tell us everything you were involved in high school, because I'm 100% sure out of all the stuff I listed off, I probably missed some stuff.
No, that pretty much covered it. It was a lot. I was heavily involved in WeTV and HBW, and I just kind of like full fledged just went all in there. And I was also in theater, so I did all the theater productions. But really, like my main outlet in high school was the Har-Ber Wildcat News, all that kind of stuff. So really enjoyed it. I miss it a lot. It's crazy. It was almost like 4 years ago now.
Yeah, you also did. You've sent me some pictures that we're going to show here in a second. Actually, let's just pull them up. Let's do that. Look at this one. Can you see in the background? What is this?
Yeah.
Snow with some type of tinsel? What, you're
Yeah.
doing modeling, right? Is some of your works published? I know that. Is that still a thing, or are you involved with that at all? What's going on?
Yeah. So I have a good friend, Ryan Barrett. He is really heavily involved in just like the professional world. I don't know. So we just do a lot of photo shoots. We did a lot whenever I first got to Baylor. And so a lot of them were just kind of fun. We would have ideas and kind of just like do like test shoots, like mock shoots, if that makes sense. So like if I have like an Apple Watch, like you can go out and you can like do a mock Apple Watch shoot. You don't necessarily have to be like sponsored or be a professional model just to go out and like have fun with that. But so besides just like having fun with it, I do a lot of influencer type stuff, where I, like, for instance, Panera Bread, I was paid to go and like go to Panera and post about like studying at the all-nighter for finals. And so I just get contacted by like companies, and then I just go out and shoot that like for Diff Eyewear. And right now I have one with Liquid IV, which is like a hydration multiplier. So it's just fun. I have fun with it.
You're like the real deal, an influencer now. I mean, you're like what is it, Kylie Jenner or whatever?
No,
something on that level. All right,
Nothing
so
like that.
before we move any further, we're going to take a look back at Sarah Gill and her work through the 3 years she was involved in the program with her award-winning demo reel. Let's take a look at that.
Life is full of moments. Moments of happiness, of sadness, of fear. Too often do we find ourselves holding on. Suspend your disbelief, open your mind, and let go. Allow me to take you on a journey, to inspire you, to remind you to look around and see all the little things in life. We capture them, 24 frames at a time. It's our honor, it's our obligation to see life and remember to freeze it and play it back for all to see. We create moments that can surpass time. We are dedicated. We are passionate. We are imaginative. We have the power to shape the world and change the lives around us. Let me tell you a story that will change yours.
There you have it. You did a lot of work while you were in high school, but let's get back to HBWN. I mean, when I say it, you were hands down one of the best producers we have ever had the privilege of having in the program. If you can remember, tell everyone kind of your responsibilities and maybe what a typical week looks like. If you can't remember, don't worry, I'm going to help guide you through that process.
Yes. So whenever I was in high school, HBW was a big part of it. I miss being a producer there. It was a lot of fun. And so what I did really was, I remember I would go to like the front of the room and I'd have the, what is it?
The production
The
meeting.
marker.
Yeah.
The production meeting, and I would have like the marker, dry erase marker, and I would be like, okay, guys, like, got any story ideas? And so we would just go around the room, and I remember Micah would always be like, fall, that's a great story idea.
Oh
And it
boy,
was
memory
so funny.
blast from the
But so
past.
we just had a lot of fun. I would lead the meetings and we'd come up with story ideas, and we'd go over angles and who you were going to talk to, who you were going to interview, what you were going to do for B-roll. Remembering always the say cow, see cow. So if you like say red couch, you're going to see a red couch on the screen, just kind of like as a guidelines for B-roll and how to get that and how to match it up. And so then I would just like stay on top of them politely and be like, hey, like, you got to go get the interview. It's supposed to be done. You said Thursday, like, it's Thursday. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Now I'm kind of more so on the reporting side at Baylor. So
Let me just interrupt and interject this thought. When you first started out as a producer, you were so afraid of hurting people's feelings. You kept coming up to me and being like, no, Sherm, I can't do that. I can't tell them to do that. That's so mean. That's so mean. What are your thoughts now?
oh my gosh, I don't really remember that. I guess you probably have a different perspective. It makes sense though, because I am like a very sensitive and like I just really care about other people's feelings. I'm a people pleaser. So it's funny that you say that. But yeah, now I'm just kind of say it how it is.
They're
I
gonna
don't
do
know.
it.
I really can tell now, like even like driving, like I always like to be the one driving like a car. Like it's just I like the control, sort of say. And so I really like producing because you have the control and you have the ability to tell people what to do. But I'm still a people pleaser at heart. I feel bad doing it, but
Okay, so this is probably where I say you really stepped into a role designed for you. I don't know if I said it on the stream or not, but before I said you are hands down going to be a producer because you're the hardest person in the world to get a hold of.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. So, what do you think in your mind makes a successful producer?
I would say a successful producer. I think it's just really a matter of like you have to have communication skills, you have to have people skills because you have to be able to communicate. It's really a matter of as far as deadlines go, like now being on like the reporting side in college, like I understand what it's like to like need one more day so that you can get more B-roll so that you can go and get another interview that would really benefit the story. And so you just have to be able to communicate as a team and problem solve. If you're not going to have a story come in one week, you have to be able to think on your feet and think of how you're going to get that story, how you're going to fill that slot in the newscast. And so organizational skills, I would say, are also really important. You have to be able to organize and know what is going on in the week and keep that in your head and not be like, okay, who's doing this story? Like, you got to know exactly what's going on.
So let's talk competitions real quick. You did a lot of competitions. One of the ones that is really competitive and that we really pay attention to is Skills USA. So as you said before, you took second place in the television productions competition as, I believe, a junior, and that was with Estrus. I looked it up and I was like, wow. Then first place in digital cinema productions as a senior for the state, which allowed you to go to the national level. So first, just talk about what the competition is and what that meant for you.
Yes, so the competitions, those were always so fun. Like, I loved them. It was just high energy, like time crunch, like you just, I don't know, you really worked as a team and I really loved that. And so I just remember, yeah, I did the film one my junior year. And I worked with Estrus and we created a film and um, I don't know. I mean, having like, I think it's 32 hours to completely write, edit, shoot, produce, like completely have that taken care of in 32 hours is insane. I don't honestly know how we did it. Looking back,
So that's
I'm
the
like,
national level. The state level, you get 5 hours, which is, that's kind of,
yeah.
you get 5 hours. So let's talk about the national. I'm not going to spoil what happened, but I'll let you tell the story. Essentially, what you did, you went to the national level after winning Arkansas Skills USA. How did being a producer really set you apart from everyone else, and allowed what happened? I know you did something very special that even the contest chairs were like, "What is this?"
Yes. So at the national level, what I did was I created a production binder. And so this was something where, I mean, this is what you use like in the real life deal producer thing, like real world. You have a binder filled with like the script, and you have a budget, and you have a shooting schedule, and you have a storyboard. And it's crazy because like now at Baylor, I'm learning about these types of things. And I'm like, I did this like in high school for a competition. Like I get it. I know how it works. But so yeah, the Skills USA, I can't remember who it was, but they contacted me and they said they're really impressed with the production binder, and they would like to talk to me, and they asked for copies of every single page. That way they would be able to start like requiring that of the groups. Whenever they start turning in films, they're going to have to do a production binder as well. So that was really cool. I just kind of did it just because it was a challenge and it was fun, and I knew that it would help me out in the real world to have that experience. And so, and I mean, it really did help. Like, I mean, people don't realize that just as much of a creative process like filmmaking is, you've got to have like the written documents and that kind of thing. Like there's contracts and there's releases and everything, like scripts and shooting schedules and storyboards. All that really helps you whenever you're on set, so that you don't get lost and you don't waste a single ounce of time.
Yeah, I mean the requirements at the national level, if I'm correct, I believe it was you had to provide a script, and that was it. Obviously you have to provide the film, but I think it was you had to provide a script. And then you took the extra step. I think it was a script, storyboards for the whole thing, shot list, lighting plots, character breakdown and analysis. There was a lot. So what you guys did was it really set the bar really high for everybody. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to take a win at that national award-winning film that Sarah, and I believe your partner was Ramey Tyler, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Sarah and Ramey Tyler completed, which went on to win first in the nation. Take a look at this.
Spirits of the afterlife, we ask you to come into this room and give us a sign of your presence. This is so dumb. We should just stop.
Sarah, no. It's going to work. I promise you. Let's just give it another try. 1, 2, 3.
Spirits of the afterlife, we ask you to come into this room and give us a sign of your presence.
See, I told you.
Give me a break. This is so dumb. We just need to stop. I don't believe any of this.
Fine. Spirits of the afterlife, if you're here, give us another sign. Knock 2 times. Sarah, they flickered the lights, and when I asked them to knock, they knocked twice. What more has to happen for you to believe it?
I don't know. How about a better con artist?
What are you talking about?
Maybe we should knock 2 times?
Sarah, I didn't do that.
Whatever. I need to go anyways. Hello, Steve. What can I do for you now? Well, I'm doing just about all that I can at this point in time. I know when the deadline is. What would you like me to do? You want me to have this finished by tonight? And all of your weight, it falls on me. It brings me down. It's 11 o'clock, Steve. Okay, you got it. I'll have it on your desk by tomorrow morning. Gosh, no wonder he's still single.
Oh, hey, you're still here?
Yeah, I'll be here for a while. Steve's got me working late again.
All right. Well, I'm just finishing up.
Thanks, Harvey. Hey, would you mind locking up on your way out?
Yeah, no problem.
Your shoe's untied.
Oh, thanks. All right, well, get some rest. Go home. Work will be here tomorrow. Guarantee it.
Hello? Is anyone out here? Hello? Is anyone here? Hello? Hello? Whoever this is, it isn't funny. Hello? Come on, come on. It's real. It's real. I believe.
And there you have it, the award-winning national winner. I think we even had an interesting story, if I remember. Didn't you guys originally place second? Oh gosh, tell me about that.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you. You're being so kind. So yes, we actually placed second at nationals, and that was a big surprise. Everyone was like, "How did that happen?" Like we just were upset, but we were trying to be humble, and we were like, "Okay, like this is it." And so we obviously went to the award ceremony, accepted it, came back, and we are like, "Yeah, we got second," and we were bummed about it, but that was it. And so I forgot how much longer it was, but I think Sherman got an email and he found out
It was like
that
the
we
next
actually,
school year. It was like,
yeah,
I want to say like 3 or 4 months later.
it was a good amount of time later because I was actually already in college at Baylor in Waco. And so I remember whenever I was home for some break, I don't know what it was, but I was home from college and we had like a special like award ceremony in the like TV room. And so we had like the jackets and we took pictures. But yeah, like we got our first place like just at Har-Ber. We didn't get it whenever we were actually in Louisville at nationals.
Yeah, they sent me an email and it said something like, there was an error in the scoring and you guys actually won first place. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And they go, can you assemble everybody to be there and we'll fly down and present the award. And I was like, man. So we had, Dr. Brackett was the principal still then. So Dr. Brackett came in, Dr. Rollins and Mr. Schaefer,
Yeah.
and we had a bunch of people, and you were there and Ramey was there, and we tried to make it a big deal. It was very interesting. So that was our second national gold medalist for cinema at Skills USA, and I like to think that you've kind of set the bar, and that's what people are expecting when we go there now. So it's pretty neat.
No,
All right.
thank you.
So get everyone back up to speed. After you graduated high school, you graduated with like a 7.0 GPA or something. What happened after high school?
Well, so I go to Baylor University in Waco, Texas. And so whenever I was applying for colleges, I was looking at like entertainment management. And so I looked at Baylor and I looked at Belmont and Nashville and I looked at the U of A. I applied there, but I just always kind of had this feeling in my heart that like I needed to get out of Arkansas and I want to go into the entertainment industry, and there really isn't an entertainment industry here. So I chose Baylor to study media business. And actually, when I went to orientation, I found out that my major was canceled. And so that was like a big shock. Nobody could have ever expected that. Like a major getting canceled is not very common. But so that was hard. But so now I'm majoring in film and digital media. And so, yeah, I love it. It's really fun. I've made a lot of great friends. The community there is awesome. I joined a sorority, Pi Beta Phi. And so last year I was vice president communications, like on executive council. And this year I am vice president member experience on executive council. So I've gotten really involved there, have classes. I'm usually in about like 16 hours a semester. So pretty busy. The minimum for college classes is like 12 hours. And so I'm in 16 and the max is 18 hours, if that kind of gives a good picture of how many hours I'm in. And so I'm staying busy there, and I'm also now reporting and anchoring for Lariat TV News, which is very similar to Har-Ber Wildcat News.
So
I'm
gonna interject. So you chose Baylor, which in my mind, when I think Baylor, I think like it's prestigious school. It's like, oh my God, it's Baylor. So I think of like the basketball team. I think of like it's very Ivy League almost. I could be completely wrong. I have no idea, but that's my thought process. So you kind of answered it already, but was there a reason that like hit you that you're like, that's it, Baylor is the one instead of University of Arkansas or Southern Cal or whatever?
Yeah, well, so I mean, I knew that I wanted to get out of Arkansas, and so that was like step one. And then I knew, honestly, like I am a homebody, like I love my family, and so I knew that it probably wouldn't be very reasonable to just get up and go to California because it'd be way harder to get home. And so I was looking kind of in like just like a radius of, I don't know, like 7 hours is a good distance. And that's kind of, I think, why I looked at Belmont, because it's about 7 hours there to there. And then it's about 7 hours to Waco. And so, but I mean, honestly, Baylor is a Christian university and my religion is really important to me. And the community there is awesome. They have awesome sports. We went to the Big 12 championship. The basketball teams are incredible. And so I don't know. Yeah, I really like it. Awesome.
So if I can remember correctly here, and I may be way off, but you went to Baylor. You're kind of doing this film stuff, but you're still passionate about the broadcast aspect. But they didn't have anything like that. They had like a yearbook, or not a yearbook, but like a journalism program, which is basically newspaper. And so I think I remember you saying that you kind of helped lift this broadcast television aspect off the ground. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes. So, yeah. So I actually, whenever I found out my major was canceled, I was a journalism major for about a semester, and it was just very print oriented. And like I would take like a writing class, and we would have to write print stories. And I was used to writing broadcast stories because that's what I did at Har-Ber, and that's like where my passion lies. I'm not passionate about writing for a newspaper. I don't want to do that. And so whenever I realized that it was really print oriented, I switched over to FDM, film and digital media. And so with that, there's a lot of like lighting and cinematography classes, and there's pre-production and set management and that kind of thing too. So those are the classes I gravitate towards, are the production and pre-production type classes. But I mean, so it's kind of funny because whenever I was at Har-Ber, I liked WeTV and I liked the film, but then I also really liked the broadcast, and I kind of always battled like which one I liked more. I remember like as far as Skills USA goes, I was always like, oh my gosh, like am I gonna do the conference recap video? Am I gonna do like the creative, like make a film video? Like I had to pick a competition to do because I couldn't just do both. But so it's funny because at Baylor, I have the whole like film major and I get to get that. And then I have a job as a reporter and anchor, and that's kind of how I get the broadcast side of it. But so yeah, the program, they don't have a broadcast major. And so what I do is a job. It's like strictly a job. There's no classes for it. They have a broadcast writing class, but that's one class. And so it's crazy because we partnered with the film, like freshman level film class. And so they are the ones they have a floor director and camera operators and that kind of thing. And so they're working like set. And then so I, as an anchor, would step in the studio and we work with them. And so we really don't have opportunity to do all these crazy like live shots and that kind of thing because we are working with the freshman level class to like.
Not yet, but it sounds like it's going to kind of excel from there, and who knows what the possibilities are in the future, right?
Yes, it for sure has a ton of potential, and I've loved. I feel like whenever I went and I started working there, because I didn't start working there till I was a junior, just because it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work, even though I'm only supposed to be working about 8 hours a week. I mean, you got to go and get interviews and drive to the interviews and get the B-roll. And I mean, it takes a lot of time. Editing takes a lot of time. Writing takes a lot of time. So, I mean, it's a very demanding job. It keeps me really busy. And so, but ever since I've gotten involved, I always give 110% when I do something. I don't want to just do it and not be super proud of what I'm doing. And so, yeah,
that's a good attribute to have. So the $1 million question, we asked Brandon, who was on the episode last week, the same question. I'm pretty sure I know your response, but we'll let you answer it. Everyone always argues you have to go to college if you're going to be successful in life. You have to have a degree if you want to make a solid living. What are your thoughts?
Oh gosh, this is a really tough question. For me, I mean, because I see both sides, like especially it's really in this industry. I don't think in any other industry, like I don't want to be wrong, but I don't think in any other industry you couldn't have I don't know, it's as tough as a question. Like, I mean, if you're going to go into marketing, there's no question you're going to college. But in this industry, I mean, it is true in that like you could like go and start working for a production company and you could really like, you could make it. It's not as required. But I feel like a college degree, like I never questioned, am I going to get a college degree? Like I just always knew that I wanted to pursue higher education. And so I did that. And I do see a lot of benefits in going to college just because you go to college and maybe what I'm learning in college still kind of is a review of high school because Sherman, you're so talented and you're so great at teaching. Like honestly, this program, like all you high schoolers out there, like this program is really incredible. And what I'm learning in college, like I learned from Sherman. And so a lot of it. And so you really need to say, don't take it for granted. Tear. But so, yeah. Well, what was I talking about?
You left off that the industry, it depends on the industry. And I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
but
industry.
I've always encouraged having a degree, at least as a backup. You know, you never know,
Exactly.
Especially, and we'll get to questions like this later, but especially now, you know, these people are stuck at home or they're not essential, right? And so
Exactly.
it definitely helps to have some type of background, some type of degree as a backup. But with that, I think now is a great time to show some of your work that you're completing while at Baylor. She is setting up a foundation for students at Baylor that it's, again, setting the bar high. So take a look at this story featuring Jake Scott.
Common Grounds had a packed house with more than 500 people, but the night before, Jake Scott played for a much smaller crowd. In fact, only 2.
A guy messaged me on Instagram and asked me if I would come play during his proposal.
Swingler knew his girlfriend was a huge fan of Jake Scott, so he was determined to get the singer-songwriter to perform at his proposal.
He got back to me within, I think, like 2 or 3 days and just said, dude, I want to do it. And so he put me in touch with management, and basically the deal was you get me a show in Waco, and we'll come do the engagement as well.
Having great connections with Common Grounds, he was able to make the deal happen.
Scotty was standing in the center with Jake behind him, who immediately started playing Tuesdays.
When Ambry walked in, she just froze. I literally said, come on, and she just stood there, and I took a couple steps toward her and said, come here. She just said, how did you do this? I said, this is my new friend, Jake.
It was just the two lovebirds and Jake Scott.
You know, I was really engrossed in Scotty, and we were dancing, and then it registers like Jake is here. And so we're dancing, and I get to a space where I see Jake behind Scotty, and I just go.
After the Waco native couple danced to Tuesdays, it was time for Swingler to get down on one knee.
There was a table with flowers, a photo of us, a Bible that had my name and his last name on it, so my future name, Ambry Swingler, which made me cry even more, and then the ring.
Reading scriptures at Common Grounds before their 8 a.m. classes was a crucial part to their faith-based relationship. With their engagement at this special place, their journey with Common Grounds had come full circle. For Lariat TV News, I'm Sarah Gill.
There you have it, a package literally produced entirely by yourself. You were talking about this during our little timeout here while you guys were watching that video, but it's just you.
Yeah. So that's like when I say that it's demanding, like the tripod, the audio kit, the camera, I'm carrying every single thing by myself. Like it's like a multimedia journalist is what they call it nowadays. Like you don't have a cameraman, like you go out and you set up your camera and you like conduct the interview, and you even set it up to do your stand-up. Like whenever I'm talking to the camera, like I set up the tripod and I like flip the thing so that I can see the screen, and I'm just kind of like trying to figure out where my face is and headroom and that kind of thing. So it's really difficult, but I mean, it's a challenge and it keeps me busy, and I enjoy it just because I get to keep producing content and keep just working at my highlight reel and that kind of thing.
Well, I'm glad that you're still getting to do what you love. So let's transition here into a little bit more of a serious topic. The coronavirus hit very hard, and honestly, it came out of nowhere. Obviously, it impacted you by taking education to an online platform, but do you remember the consensus around campus before it really broke out? I mean, were people like, don't worry about this? What was the status there?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting just because I do like work for like a news, company, but so we have a newscast every week and we needed to fill the newscast. And so, I remember my friend Grace, she covered the coronavirus whenever it was in China, and we did a story on like exchange students, like if they felt like they were being judged on campus. And so, but I mean, it was kind of just like we thought that it was like not here. We were just like, it's over in China, like it's just not here. And so, I mean, it's as far as like before spring break, it's just interesting because my mom, like we were planning on going to Cozumel for Mary Claire's spring break. And my mom was like, I just hope we don't get coronavirus. I don't want to be quarantined. And I mean, of course, now that spring break trip was canceled. But I was telling my mom, like at that point, my perception of the coronavirus was that anytime we needed a story in our newscast, like for the weeks leading up to spring break, we were like coronavirus, like do a story on that, do a story on economic like impact, and do a story on like the exchange students and how they're feeling. And like we just turned it into a story, and because like it was something to talk about. It was but we didn't expect it to nobody could have ever expected it to get to the way it is now. So yeah,
So this, for all the administrators that are watching this may not be the best question, but we got to ask it. What are your thoughts on online learning? I mean, do you think it's having the impact teachers are intending? Are you finding value in it? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I'm in college, so it's a little bit different story than the high school and middle school and elementary school and all that kind of thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think it is important that we continue to learn, especially, we don't want to just like all of a sudden put a halt to learning and then we're all behind a year. Like nobody wants that. And at the end of the day, like we're in our houses, like we're quarantined. And so what better time to like use our technology and really like continue to learn. I think it's honestly such a privilege that we have the technology that we're able to do this. Like the fact that we're doing a Zoom and live streaming at the same time. And it's just like the fact that we're able to have all of these Zoom classes with our professors and get to learn, it's insane. And I think that it can be challenging because I mean, at the end of the day, like it's up to you. Like you have to stay on top of your things. You have to be the one to log on to the Zoom call. So it takes a lot of responsibility, but I think that's good. I think it's teaching you to
Be responsible.
yeah, be responsible and have time commitment. Because in college, like that's what it is. You don't have someone telling you to go to class. Like you can show up or you don't have to. And of course, it would impact your grade, but you're the one showing up. So I
it
think it's
sounds
really
like you've gotten a lot of value out of it. I mean, but there's a lot of industry professionals, like movies right now are done. They've been halted. Nobody's shooting movies. The broadcast industry is kind of like everybody's wearing masks and stuff. So how do you think it's affecting the industry, broadcast or film? How do you think it's affecting that industry?
Yeah, so I have friends who are reporters as far as broadcasts go. I have friends who they are doing stand-ups from their home. I'm still producing news stories and I'm just like here against my wall and I'm talking. And so it's just you make do with what you got as far as broadcast goes. I mean, B-roll is so hard to get. Like you can't go out and shoot B-roll for the package. You have to find pictures and ask the person you're interviewing for pictures and that kind of thing.
Wow.
So broadcast is really like you stay at home and work from home, like make do with what you got. And then as far as film goes, I mean, I know that obviously you were self quarantined and you have to social distance and you can't be around a ton of people. So all of the movies and TV shows, like those are all being put to a halt. And so it's interesting. We're gonna have a while, I feel like, of not having a bunch of movies coming out just because like they can't be filming it now.
But then there's going to be a surge. Do you think there's going to be a surge? Like once this is done, it's like movie. Do you think they're going to be that?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like, because I mean, now that I'm in college, I'm learning more about the pre-production and that kind of thing. I feel like there's a way, like especially after this, people are going to be so motivated to like get to work and stay on set and like crank out stuff. So I think that they're going to find ways to like either cut a shot or cut a scene or like that kind of thing so that things still can come out. I mean, yeah, maybe work overtime. I don't really know. I think really cutting stuff is going to help.
We can transition into, I mean, do you see any positives from this? I mean, are there positives at all?
As far as like the industry goes, or kind of just like in general?
As what's happening right now, we're all quarantined. I mean, are there positives from what's happening right now?
I mean, I think that there are. I think it's really important to look on the bright side, just because we're all in this situation, and it's not going to change for a while. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day. And it's really scary and it can be anxious. And so I think it's important that we just have an optimistic point of view and we say, hey, like I get all of this time with my family and that is awesome. Or, hey, like I have all this time to learn a hobby or to catch up on sleep that I haven't been getting. And I also, I think it helps us see the benefits of technology, that we're able to stay connected and we're able to continue learning. But also I think it helps us see how technology really is kind of taking over, and it's almost kind of eerie just because like we're doing it. Like we're all in our houses and we're looking at our computer screens right now. And that's just very modernistic and it's just kind of crazy. And so I think it's also helping us see that technology cannot replace community. Like at the end of the day, we need to be around people. We need to be able to go to a coffee shop and like be surrounded by people. I'm a people person, so this really is hard for me because I'm an extrovert and I crave community. But so I think there are positives, and I think it is important to look at the positives.
Yeah, I was about to say, the one thing I've learned from this is that I never take anything for granted anymore. In the past it was like, hey, you guys want to come over and hang out and watch a movie? And I'd be like, I don't want to do that. But now I would kill to be able to go over to somebody's house and just, hang out and watch a movie. So I think that's it's a new norm. And transitioning to my next question, when do you feel like it will get back to normal, and what is normal?
So, I mean, honestly, I think it's not ever going to get back to the way that it was before coronavirus. Like, I mean, it's crazy because I remember like being in Mr. Stewart's like AP history class and like learning about all these events through history. And even now I'm learning about events through history. But like we are writing textbooks right now. Like this, what we're going through, like every single thing on the news, like now the 3 phases of reopening the economy, the guidelines, like these are going to be like in textbooks like in the
That's a
future.
great
Our kids are
point,
going to
yeah.
be about that kind of thing. And it's crazy. They're going to be asking us like, hey, what'd you do when you were stuck in your house? Like in that time, like they're going to be asking us about this. And so that's really crazy. But I mean,
To me,
I
what's
don't
very
know.
interesting is that there's been a new shift in normalcy. Like when I used to walk into an airport and I see people wearing a mask, I was like, stay away from that person. They're contagious, right? It was so weird.
Yeah.
But today, for instance, we had a photographer for the Democrat Gazette come in, and he was wearing a full-blown mask, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, man, it's just, it's the new normal now. So it's weird how society has just shifted into a new normalcy.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to get back to the way it was. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever going to shake hands again just because
The elbow tap?
yeah, we're going to do elbow taps. It's not even that we're like, I mean, in Arkansas, we don't have a stay-at-home order, but people are still staying home because they're afraid. Like nobody wants to get the coronavirus. So, I mean, despite the lockdown, people aren't leaving their houses because they're scared because they don't want to get infected. And so I think it's going to take a long time for people to trust and just like know that they can go outside and they can interact with people and that they're not going to get it. I think it's going to take a while. And so I just think, yeah, keep a positive mindset and take it one day at a time.
And right on cue, I mean, it's almost like we planned this or something. Sarah actually completed a story about a student at Baylor who tested positive for the virus after a spring break trip. Very interesting and a big story, especially in a time like now. So take a look at this video, again, completed by our own Sarah Gill.
There are over 1 million cases of COVID-19 in the world. It's easy to see each case is simply a number on a screen, but with each case comes a person and a story. I talked to one Baylor student who opens up to share her battle with COVID-19.
I went on spring break, and I feel like at that point, no one was super concerned yet.
She went to Gulf Shores, Alabama, then stopped in New Orleans on the way back to Waco.
I got back on Sunday, went to work on Monday. I was sneezing a little bit, but I was like, that's probably just allergies. I woke up Tuesday morning, that was when it really hit me. And I had a fever, it was like 101, terrible body aches, really bad headache. So it kind of felt like the flu to me.
Sayers tested negative for strep and the flu. But both the urgent care and the Baylor Health Center told her she did not meet the criteria for COVID-19.
They asked if I had shortness of breath, which I didn't at that time.
Wednesday, her fever broke, but she still wasn't feeling well, so she called the health center again Thursday. And this time, they asked a new question.
Do you have any underlying health conditions? And when I told them that I had asthma, that's when they were like, okay, maybe we should test you.
Sayers got tested for COVID-19 on Thursday.
Just drove up to the circle at the health center, got a lovely swab at both of my nostrils. It was awful. So that was kind of surreal because I actually saw someone like walking by on campus that I knew, and I was just like, hey.
The test came back positive on Friday, 4 days after she started feeling sick.
I had to go back and make a contact list of everyone that I'd been in contact with in the past 2 weeks. I knew that it would definitely scare people because it was hitting so close to them.
Sayers notified the fellow Baylor student she was with on spring break, her coworkers, and her roommates.
Everyone's from spring break. It's fine. I actually, there ended up being 4 people at my work that were positive. That was hard because I was the first one. And so you can't help but think, like, did I give it to all of them?
Her message: take this seriously.
Act as if you do have it, even if you don't, and even if you don't have any symptoms. You need to be taking as much precaution as someone that does have it.
After a 16-day battle with COVID-19, Sayers is now considered recovered because she has had no symptoms for 3 days. Her story is just a testament to the hope that we as a nation will get through this pandemic. For Lariat TV News, I'm Sarah Gill.
And there you have it, right on time, a story produced by Sarah Gill about the coronavirus. I mean, it's scary. And you were telling me, again, between our little break, about another story you're doing. What's going on with that?
Yes, so even though I'm not even at Baylor, it doesn't stop. I'm still going to make stories about Baylor and Baylor students. And so right now I'm doing a story on a Baylor student who is actually asymptomatic with coronavirus. And people who are asymptomatic with coronavirus, that means that you don't have symptoms. It's like without symptoms. But a popular symptom that you have with asymptomatic is a loss of taste and smell. And so I interviewed him via Zoom, and he actually was cleared. So he technically doesn't have coronavirus anymore, but he still can't taste or smell anything. And since it's a new virus, they don't know when to tell him, like when it will come back. So yeah, it's crazy.
So, very serious question here. Do you think this is going to spawn the zombie apocalypse? I've invested in a lot of swords, and will that become practical for me?
No.
Okay, let's get honest here. Be completely honest. You've graduated, so it's not going to hurt my feelings. I have a reputation of being super honest, transparent. I don't sugarcoat things. If they ask my opinion on a video, I'm going to give them my opinion. So reflecting back, did that help how brutally honest I could be? Did it change your way of thinking? Did it shape you? What did that do for you?
So 1,000,000% it helped me in it. I mean, it's just, you look at a video, whether it's like broadcast or film or anything, like you're gonna look at it and edit it for however long you're gonna do it, and you're at some point you're just not gonna see the mistakes that you're making. Like you just need another set of eyes. And I think so therefore it's important to have like a friend or a peer or like teacher, whoever, watch it just so you have another set of eyes on it. But I mean, it's just, I always want to continue growing, and I want to know the mistakes I'm making so I can continue to learn from them. If you had just told me, Sarah, that stand up was great, then I would have kept doing that. Maybe I was doing some weird thing with my hands the whole time. Like if you hadn't told me, I would have continued doing that. And so I don't know. I think it really did help me just because it helped me be critical of my own work. And I mean, it's so important to produce good quality work and be proud of it.
So you're in college now, obviously a totally different atmosphere from high school, but what would you say are some of the important lessons you've learned at Baylor?
So at Baylor, I've learned about time commitment, learning how to manage time, especially just because I am involved in so many things. It's really important to know like how much time I need to dedicate to having a social life and how much time to dedicate to school and working or serving on my Pi Phi sorority like executive council. It's just important to be able to manage everything and not all of a sudden just start drowning and like failing the class or that kind of thing. So time management is really important. Meeting deadlines, like even whenever I was in high school, the importance of like meeting deadlines, like you just got to view that like it's like a test, like it's not going to move, it's a deadline and you have to meet that, because in the real world, like if you miss a deadline, it's not going to be pretty. And I mean, even like it's going back to how you always like make sure that we're learning from our mistakes in our videos. Like whenever we're in the professional world, if I produce a story and I like, okay, here, my producer, like, here you go, like, this is my story, like, they're not going to sugarcoat anything. They're going to say, Sarah, you had the interviewer in the wrong, like, third, like, you need to fix that. Like, they're going to be critical because that's my job. And so I think it's really important that you stay brutally honest. Sorry, everyone, but I mean, it's for the best, honestly.
You gotta be honest. All right, so starting to wrap this thing up now. Believe it or not, people still know exactly who you are and the type of student you were. it could be because your sister's still in the program, which I said we should get her in here. We should have a little split screen. And it's actually funny because whenever she talks during class or she doesn't turn something in, I always say, Mary Claire, WWSD. And she has the same exact reaction every single time. She rolls her eyes and then I say, what would Sarah do? And she hates it. But it's funny, her trying to find her way, but still live up to the hype of who you are. Anyway, I digress. So students still know who you are. They still look up to you. What words of advice would you give to students who want to be successful in the television program, who want to go on and attend college and even work in the industry one day?
So advice, I would say definitely just make friends, like make connections. That's one of the benefits of going to college, is that you now are having all of these connections and you're building your network. And so whenever you are graduated, you have people to say, oh, I know that person, she lives in Miami, maybe I can contact her, maybe she has a job opening at her business or whatever. So really, it's really important to make connections, but also like it's important to have a community and to be able to have people to rely on and take advantage of every opportunity as far as like professional development goes. I mean, if you see that there's a job opening or that kind of thing, like at a news company, and you've always wanted to do that, don't be afraid. You have to really take this step, and it might be scary and you might mess up, but you're going to learn from your mistakes. I think that's really the main thing, is that I've learned that it's really important to take every opportunity and just to grow from it.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Sarah Gill, 2017 Har-Ber High School graduate, currently attending Baylor University. Sarah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for continuing to be an inspiration. And for all our viewers, remember, if you have questions for Sarah, What's the best way for them to get into contact with you?
Yes, definitely. You can email me. My email is Sarah, SARAH_Gill, GILL, 1@baylor.edu. You can definitely email me if you have any questions. I would love to help you. And from my experience, I would love just to give you some advice. And really, I'm serious. If you're a senior, go to college and soak it up. But if you're a sophomore or a junior, like take advantage of every opportunity in the Har-Ber program. It is incredible, and you're going to wish that you would have taken advantage of it if you haven't already.
That is Sarah_Gill1. I can only assume because you're the one and only Sarah Gill1.
Maybe.
There you go, and that wraps it up for this week's episode. Be sure to tune in the future, as we will have other special guests that are not only past graduates, maybe someone you'll recognize, maybe not. Regardless, it'll be entertaining, and you'll get to hear my voice, and that alone is worth the price of admission. I'm Travis Sherman, and you've been watching The Real Cinema Experience.